Well, first of all, I've got to say that I was so surprised by that ending and in a very good way. Oh my gosh, that has to be one of the best endings this show has ever had. The only thing I was truly disappointed in with this episode was the fact that we did not see A in the grandpa mask, but in a different worker uniform. I was so sad about that. So thumbs down to that. But give me a thumbs up if you thought that ending was epic, because it was everything. And we'll talk more about it in just a little bit, but I just had to start off with that because it was so good. So I was totally right that Byron was a massive red herring once again. But, you know, the good news here is that he's getting back with Ella. They're like re-engaged, I guess. Maybe they're going to have a second wedding. I don't know. But I think this is a good thing. You know, I really like Ella, and I'm glad they're getting back together, and that's good for the whole family. So good job, PLL. So Hannah's hair and wardrobe was just totally goals in this episode. I just had to throw that out there. A is hardcore pressuring Hannah to figure out where that drive is that her mom stole. The texts are going on again with the emojis, although they weren't as ridiculous as they've been in some of the episodes for 6B. So her mom hasn't told her where this is. And honestly, one of the funniest parts of this episode is where she's with Aria, and Hannah and Aria like tear up the entire kitchen trying to find this backup drive. It definitely gave me major vibes, and it's definitely a tribute to old school PLL when her mom stole the money from the bank and put it in the pasta box in the kitchen. So I felt like that was hilarious, and that was something that makes the show, it reminds me of when I really liked the show, and I just thought that was such a great scene. Thumbs up if you like that scene. So honestly, this Baleb stuff, I'm just whatever. I don't like it. I really had enough of it. It can end anytime now. That's what I said on Twitter, because, you know, I just think it will. Once again, I think it's a fling. So whatever. Caleb was like the smartest person in this episode. I mean, he told Spencer, he's like, I think we need to call the cops because this new A is like texting and harassing you guys again. But Spencer's like, no, I mean, we don't really know if it's like a new A or whatever. Like, we don't need to contact the cops yet. And I get it that the cops are super corrupt in Rosewood, but there's like state police, there's the FBI, there's people above them that you could contact. And I think it's really lame of Spencer to not want to tell someone. They could like nip this in the bud right away instead of having a whole other A villain getting crazier and getting more power. I guess this show's not based in reality because that really makes no sense to me. It is annoying that they think that Shower Harvey is that all the girls suspect her as being this new Uber A, or at least it's the person who's texting them, which we all know that isn't true. They think that she's texting because it's easier for her to use the emojis. But honestly, if your fingerprints are like burned, you probably can't text at all because on a touch screen, it might not even recognize them. But then again, maybe she has touchscreen gloves. That's totally how she's doing it. Although, she's not the person texting. I just totally don't think that's what's happening. So, I love that the show is now in current times, and they can make references to things that are going on in present day, like selfie sticks and like TV shows. So the Downton Abbey reference was everything for me because I love that show. I've watched the entire series. If you haven't watched it, you're probably lost by that. But if you do watch it, then Hannah's reference to Bates and Downton Abbey was really epic for me, and I thought it was so funny, and I just thought it was one of the more memorable moments of this episode, which overall had a lot of good moments, I think. So, we see Dr. Rollins again in this episode. A lot of you guys think that Dr. Rollins will end up being Uber A, which would make me very upset, more upset than the CC reveal, because he's a new character, even if he has sufficient motivation that we don't know about yet. I just feel like it's super lame because we just met him, and I think it's ridiculous. He did seem to have some connection to Emily's storyline with her donating her eggs. He seemed really caught off guard by that. It was weird, and I think maybe that's going to play into something later on. But then again, who really knows with this show. So Shower Harvey's having a meeting with Allie, and she seems to be really sincere and everything, talking about Cece. But then as soon as Allie walks out of the room, she has like this sly smile on her face, which we all know means we can't trust her, which I don't think any of us trust her because we know she's a villain of some sort. But the show is basically trying to push it down our throats that she is the new Uber A, which means that she is not the Uber A at all. So they can't find this backup drive, but they set up like a fake drop-off with a fake drive to see if this new Uber A person will fall for it. So Emily goes to the hospital to get this procedure done of her harvesting her eggs. So what we need to talk about here is, did this scene that follows actually happen, or is it dream logic, or what's the deal? So we should start off by saying that Aria is supposedly looking through a peephole in a door, and she sees Ashley Marin talking to Shower Harvey, which seems pretty weird because I don't know of any doors I've looked in from the outside through the peephole, which I wouldn't do that anyway. But if you do, I really don't think you can see inside someone's entire house or room. That seemed weird, so I don't really know if that actually happened or that was a dream or what. But then we're supposed to believe at the same time that Emily is in the hospital getting ready to undergo her procedure for harvesting her eggs, and then Sarah Harvey shows up as a medical worker who's tampering with her IV and is really scaring the crap out of Emily. That scene really seemed like a dream. Allie was waiting outside and she swears that no one was able to get into the room while Emily was in there. So I really don't know if both of those are a dream. One of them's a dream. I would love to hear what your thoughts are below. But again, with the writers tweeting out, back when we had the CC reveal, they tweeted out about dream logic. So maybe a lot of this stuff is a dream or it's not reality. I'm not really sure. So that led some of you to think that Allie and Sarah were teaming up and working together to hurt the girls, which I really don't think that's the case. And I really don't think Allie is involved. But again, it's really hard to tell with this show because they throw a lot of red herrings out and they throw a lot of stuff out that absolutely means nothing. So it's super hard to figure out who the villain is. We could guess all day and never figure it out. So Sparia is breaking into the room where Sarah Harvey is staying. So they find a bunch of gloves in the drawer and they're like on mannequin hands, basically I guess to keep their shape. I don't find anything really shady about that. But then inside one of them were like these blueprints, and I think what it meant was it was like blueprints of the room where Charlotte had stayed at Radley, and it looks like Sarah is in the same exact room, which is now the Radley. So the same exact room that Charlotte stayed in when she was in the mental institution. Not really sure what that means. There was also some kind of massive hole in the closet that Arya found, so I don't know. Anyway, and something else to mention is that there was this really bizarre scene that I guess is like a nod to The Devil Wears Prada, where Hannah gets into an argument and stands up for herself with this fashion person, her boss named Claudia, which I love the female empowering moment there, and I loved how Hannah stood up for herself. But on the other hand, I felt like this scene was really unnecessary because we don't know these people from her new job and they just kind of showed up and it was weird, and I'm not really sure why they put that in, but maybe they're just trying to show like, hey, Hannah's matured and she's got girl power. I don't know. I really don't know. So it turns out it looks like someone has stolen Emily's eggs, and basically we learned that the main motive, if we didn't already know by now, of Uber A is to find out who killed Charlotte with that note that they sent. So I don't think the person who killed Charlotte is Uber A because that really doesn't make sense, but this person seems to believe that the girls know who did it or were involved in some way. Now back to that ending, which I thought was just fabulous. Finally, someone does something to stand up to A in this series because we see our A moment at the end of this episode, and somehow Caleb has hacked into this person's computer and left them a video message, plus they put a virus on their laptop, which was really hilarious, so epic. One of the best endings, like I said, in any episode, I think, of the entire PLL series. I was just really happy with that, and I thought Caleb was the rock star of this episode because he made a lot of smart decisions and he has shown that he has matured quite a lot. So we see in the promo for next week's episode that Tanner is back, which I don't really care because I don't like her character. I think she's shady because the show wants us to think she's shady, and I just don't like her at all, to be honest. But I have no idea where she went, and I don't know why she's back, and they probably won't explain either. So if you didn't know, I have a live PLL chat every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern right here on my channel. Those details are in the info box. I would love for you to join and comment or just join and watch because it's really cool to share theories with everyone and to talk back and forth and to get to know you guys because you guys have become my friends more than just viewers, okay? So thank you again so much for watching this episode of Kellie TV. I'll see you next time.